Watch your step is a very common warning phrase. However, death might just come from above. This week, we look at people who died from falling objects. Hevel was a 13-year-old boy who, like most 13-year-old boys, enjoyed playing with friends. He was playing with friends during the Al-Adha festival, also known as the Feast of the Sacrifice. It's a religious holiday for Muslims where they celebrate the willingness of Abraham to sacrifice his own son as commanded by God before God intervened. In the festival, animals are routinely sacrificed, and their meat is oftentimes divided among family, friends, and the poor and needy. Hevel's father had obtained a goat for the sacrifice, which he planned on sacrificing inside the flat of their building. But the flat didn't have adequate spacing for a goat sacrifice, so he took the goat up to the roof of the building to do it there. The goat was naturally terrified of impending doom and began to fuss and run around, attempting to escape at any cost. The cost was much greater than what Hevel's father could have anticipated, as his son was playing in the street below. The goat jumped a fence on the roof and plummeted 6 stories, where he collided with Hevel, crushing him to the ground. Hevel's father was more than distraught when he ran to the street and found his son bloodied and bashed in the road. Hevel died upon arriving to the hospital. Sarah Bean was a mother of 2 who was planning on marrying her longtime boyfriend, the love of her life. She had to be at work shortly before her shift one night at a nearby children's hospital, but decided to go out with her boyfriend for lunch first. The 2 walked together and passed by a historic church, the Second Presbyterian Church in Chicago. Over a century old, the building was dilapidated to say the least. It had been struck with building violation after building violation in the past, and besides being a beautiful structure and still hosting sermons, it was a looming danger waiting to be realized. Sarah and her boyfriend were unaware of what was occurring above their heads as they strolled by. A piece of decorative metal on the outside of the building came loose and dropped. Fortunately, it was deflected by a stone gargoyle that had been jutting out from the outer wall as well. Not so fortunately, however, was the fact that the gargoyle had been so worn down like the rest of the building that the metal broke off a large chunk of the statue, and a heavy piece of the gargoyle, believed to be its head, rained down towards the couple. The next thing Sarah's boyfriend knew, his girlfriend's head was cracked open as she crumpled to the ground. Reports claim that he dropped to his knees and screamed, grabbing his head in complete horror. Sarah was killed almost instantly. Family and friends remember Sarah fondly, regarding her as a wonderful mother and just all-around great person. A roof over one's head may not be as great as one hopes. For Mr. Souza, a 45-year-old married man from Brazil, this would be especially true. Mr. Souza lived in a house with a corrugated roof. This roof backed up right against a steep hill. A nearby farm was home to a number of cows. One of these cows managed to escape her life of bondage and subjugation and headed towards newer, more liberating horizons. Unfortunately for Mr. Souza, this one particular cow climbed that one particular hill and lumbered towards his roof. Mr. Souza had just gone to bed with his wife by his side. The cow didn't have too many qualms with testing her hooves out on the nice metal sheet that was Mr. Souza's roof, and moved onward. Hoof by hoof, creak by creak, the roof began to groan loudly from the stress of the added and surely not planned amount of weight on top of it. Once the cow overcame her obstacle and found her proud 1.5-ton self standing victoriously on Mr. Souza's quaint and humble abode, no later did the roof give way, and the cow, who who may have thought for a fleeting moment that she had made a terrible mistake, came crashing in directly on top of Mr. Souza. Mr. Souza was rushed to the hospital, where he was conscious and talking with what was believed to be only a fractured left leg. Hours later, he was dead from internal bleeding while still waiting to see doctors. His wife and family were devastated by the sudden and unexpected death. While Mr. Souza died, the cow did manage to escape relatively unharmed. Her current whereabouts are unknown. That's all for now. Remember, you may not believe it, but anything is possible in a world so seriously strange. I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe to my channel by clicking on screen now or below this video, because you won't want to miss the next episode of Seriously Strange.